Chapter 12, One Fierce Beast. The piano continued on, now in time with the weeping cries of Charlotte. Townsfolk began to get up and withdraw from the center of the arena. Some left the scene altogether. "This is much more than I bargained for," Kenny heard one farmer cry out. "Maybe this wasn't such a good idea," he heard another say. I don't need this," stammered a third. As the handful of spectators headed up the aisles toward the exit, an enormous fireball erupted from the cave, instantly incinerating the tattered covers and billowed a cloud of hazy smoke out into the amphitheater. The thick, murky smog blanketed the attendees, who could now barely see one another, let alone anything else. The fleeting audience members froze with fright, not sure whether to run blindly off into the smoke or stay with the masses. Then a cold, deep reptilian voice thundered over the gathering. The sound seemed to be coming from everywhere. Well, 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 what a reception this is! Nobody had made a peep. All were trying to see any sign of the beast in the dense fog. A flapping noise began and a warm, gusty wind blew, and the smoke blew the smoke away, revealing the large dragon behind the audience, next to the king's box seats, blocking any escape from the hilltop. Waving his enormous leathery wings, he smiled, a jagged, toothy smile. "It looks like the whole town is here. Now this is what I call a smorgasbord," he roared. Graham inhaled deeply and blew a stream of fire straight up into the sky, causing glowing ash to rain down onto the amphitheater like fiery snow. He then leaped on top of the king's tower and peered inside. Let's start with a royal appetizer." "Back off," he cackled. "Back off. Go away, shoo," the king yelled as he grabbed his two sons and hid behind the jester. "Dragon!" George's voice cut across the audience and snapped the beast's gaze from the king. "Your fight lies with me, ruffian." "Indeed it does," Graham replied, and sprang from the tower, causing it to topple into pieces. He hovered over the crowd for a bit, his expansive beating wings sending trash, ash, and pennants swirling up into the air. The large drake then dropped down into the center aisle. This sent the audience screaming and running for their lives. The king clawed his way out of the wrecked tower. "My word! That is one fierce beast," he said. "What do you think, boys?" "Whoa!" they replied in unison. "Devil, prepare for your imminent extermination," George yelled as he charged up the aisle toward Graham. "Little knight, I will eat you alive and use your enchanted weapons as my toothpick. Then I will dine upon this sweet maiden dessert." At this, here's the fight happening. At this, Graham lunged over George, landing square in the center of the battlefield, and ramped about, thrashing his wings madly. The smoke billowed and rolled about in a very dramatic fashion. It wisped and whirled around Kenny's mom as she continued playing away on the piano. "We have to flee or he'll pick us off one by one," Kenny heard someone yell. "There's nowhere to run. We're fish in a barrel," another responded. Frozen in his front row seat, old Pop's possum fainted right on the spot. The young lad next to him waved his wooden sword and squealed, "Go, dragon!" "Back off, foul beast!" Charlotte yelled, still bound to the tree. The feisty gal kicked at the dragon while George approached the arena slowly, pitchfork in hand like a lance. The knight's eyes remained fixed on Graham, no matter where the dragon moved. George announced, "It's no use. This is your final hour." "We'll see about that," replied Graham. He lashed his tail about and whipped the pitchfork right out of George's hand. It flew up into the air, plunging into the trunk of one of the oaks bordering the cave. Graham bellowed out a malicious laugh as he glimpsed the pitchfork lodged in the tree. With Graham's attention diverted for the moment, George ran behind and leapt up upon his scaly back. He drew his sword and yelled, "Devil, your end is nigh." At that, the dragon looked like a wild horse, high into the air. Losing his grip, George dropped his sword and it plunged into the top of the piano, creating a loud, dismal, flat note. Kenny saw his mom pause for a moment and then continued playing more frenetically than before. The knight held on for dear life as the beast vaulted about the battlefield in an effort to shake him off.